Hi everyone and welcome to this video, and we're going to discuss a very important subject here. My name is Dennis and I am the head trader of Investment Mastery, and we are going to discuss why do most people lose money when they invest or when they trade. Why do most people lose money? We have discussed similar topics before, but I want to mention a few specific things here that I think are some of the reasons why I lost when I started out. Because you see, and we have a video here somewhere where I actually tell my story more in detail if you want to see it, but I didn't have a strategy when I started. I lost 70% of my account when I started to invest and trade before I actually learned new strategies and before I met Marcus de Maria and Investment Mastery as well. Now, the reasons are that in anything in life, whatever you do, you actually take lessons. You do on the university education. Not only that, right? You take driver's lessons, you do everything to learn how to do things properly. But let me ask you a question. What would happen if you started to drive without any lessons, without knowing what you're doing? What would happen? Well, it's a very high probability, Dennis, that I would crash, and you would be right. That is absolutely true. So one of the first big mistakes people are doing is that they are not using a strategy, right? They have no strategy. And you might say, well, I actually have a strategy, Dennis. I'm buying, every Sunday. Well, that's great. That's a great strategy. And I'm going to tell you about just one way you can do this. But what most people do is they use the buy and hope strategy, the buy and pray strategy, which is not a great strategy, because what is happening here is that you buy and then you hope it's going to go up. Have you done that before? Have you ever bought something and then you hope it's going to go up, but it goes down, right? Just when you bought, it went down instead. Rubbish, right? But that happens because you don't have the strategy. So just to give you an example, when Bitcoin goes up, you might feel one of these feelings, and that's one of the mistakes as well. Let's say, the price goes up, and you get in over here, right? You're like, okay, I can't be on the sidelines. This is gonna go up forever. And you feel something called FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And those are emotions. That's a very common emotion that we all feel. I still do after trading for 8 years. And the one thing that saves me is to have a strategy, because when I feel FOMO, I need to be getting in now. I missed this. Then my brain goes, no, you know what? You have a strategy. And my strategy is, for example, I always wait. Now, I didn't do this before. I wait, I fall a minus 20% before I get in. That is our VCA strategy. There's more rules to it, of course. And please comment below if you would like to find out more. But you need to know that, right? You need to know that before. Because if you feel, FOMO, you're getting in, you mortgage your house, you put everything in. You might say, whoa, Dennis, cryptocurrencies, that's really risky. Yes, it might be risky, therefore you put in less money. Let's say you have $10,000. Well, why don't you put in 500 in cryptos? Ooh, the worst thing that can happen then is that you lose $500. You're not going to be able to lose the 10,000, you only invested 500. But those 500 could turn into 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, who knows, over time. But it might be worth researching. So this is the next mistake that people do. Acting on emotions is one. Using a strategy is very handy. Number three, they actually invest with too much risk. Okay, I'm gonna make that red because this is red. So risk is a big problem. So what people do is, if we use this scale here and we look at very tiny companies over here, right? Let's say we have the next hype, right? We can write hype over here. You have a hype, and over here you have Apple. Well, people are not investing in Apple, right? They're not investing in those companies that are safe, stable, really good. That being said, Apple is up like 200% in 2021, right? So it would have been an amazing investment. Would you be happy with 100%? Absolutely, right? But instead, what people do, they put way too much risk into the hype. So they buy this new crypto, hopefully it goes up 1,000,000%, but the probabilities are it's gonna go down. So what I would propose is, if you invest in the hype, that's fine. But if you have, maybe let's say you have 10,000, what you do instead is you invest maybe 100 in this, right? $100. If it goes up 1,000,000%, great. But if it goes down to zero, well, you only lost 100. And then you focus more on the Apples, on the Microsoft, on the bigger ones. and in cryptos, the Bitcoin, the top 10 maybe. So in this one, on each opportunity, maybe put in 1,000 instead. But people do this the other way around. They go, oh, I'm gonna put in 5,000 in this, and then they ignore these because you can't really make any money with Apple, right? So those are 3 reasons. The last reason I want to bring up to you is a very important one, because the last reason here is one that why most people lose, and that is time. We're in such a rush, right? We're in such a rush to make things happen. And not only that, a big problem here is that you think you will get rich overnight. And unfortunately, my friends, that is rarely true. You can be lucky and get this next Bitcoin and really make those 1,000,000% or 1,000%, but it's very unlikely. It's all about probabilities in investing and trading. So the reason I thought about this, right? The reason most people are financially free when it comes to, not financially free, sorry, but millionaires in properties. That's where most millionaires have been made. That is because of time. How long do you own a property? Comment below, what do you think is the average time? But it's many, many years. And if let's imagine the property price goes down a bit, it's not like you're gonna sell it by emotion, right? Because it's a long process, it's difficult. But the problem with stocks and shares, it's just a click and you have sold it. So you can act on emotions. So what usually happens is, when the market goes up, you panic, right? You feel this FOMO we spoke about, but then when it goes down, then you panic instead. If you don't have a strategy, that is, right? Because you bought maybe up here, and then you panic and you sell down here because you don't want to lose anything more. Because 1, you risked too much, 2, you don't have a strategy. But if you just give it time, you can't do that with property. And 2 years later, you would have made a lot of money. Let me ask you a question. What price were Bitcoin at the top of 2017? You might know the answer to this one. In 2017, it went up to $20,000, right? Oh, $20,000. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you another question. So then, in 2 years later, in 2018-19, what was the lowest price Bitcoin went down to? You guessed it, $3,000. How many of you think that most people panicked back then? Absolutely, most people sold. We actually had a client who bought Bitcoin 20,000 down 17, and then bought on the way down, but then down at 6,000 said, you know what, I'm having it, right? I'm selling now, because they panicked. They thought it was going to go down, but then we all know what happened. A few years later, Bitcoin went up to 60,000. So the lesson here is you need to give it time. You need to give your trading time. You need to give you the investing time, because it's over time you make money. You never know when, but you know that it will happen if you follow the strategies. So to summarize, the answer to all of these mistakes and the common mistakes we went through here, that is to always follow and use a strategy that is proven, right? Learn from someone with 10 years of experience, 20 years of experience that done it successfully as well. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you got some value from it. Then comment below, what are the most common mistakes you have done, right? What are the lessons that you have learned? And make sure you subscribe as well. Press that subscribe button and press the like button as well if you enjoy what you're seeing. And not only that, also make sure you press the alarm bell so you get notified when we post more videos as well. So with that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next video.